んなに地球人が素敵だったのか。
Zoffy is an interesting character in the Ultraman lore. He's the first member of the Ultra Brothers and probably their most mysterious or least developed members, depending on how you look at it. But I actually really like Zoffy. So today, let me yap about why Zoffy's one of my favorite Ultras. Just a little bit of background here. Zoffy is the leader of the Ultra Brothers, an elite group of Ultras who were all trained by Father of Ultra to protect the galaxy. Not much is known about Zoffy, or really any of the Ultras' past. What we do know of Zoffy is that he has a close connection to Canon Marie. Earliest we see of Zoffy, like on screen, is in Ultra Galaxy Fight, The Absolute Conspiracy, where we see him try to protect Canon Marie from Belial before being thrown aside. Zoffy always shows up to help out his fellow Ultra Brothers, and really any Ultras that might be in need. His first appearance was in the final episode of the original Ultraman, where he takes Ultraman back to the Land of Light after Ultraman's defeated by Zeton. Now, he shows up a lot in Ace. His most notable appearances in Ace include him and the rest of the Ultra Brothers showing up to introduce Ace and save Seiji and Yuko from death. His appearance in the 5th episode, where he shows up to save Ace from getting his ass beat by Aribunta and Giron Man. The time he shows up to bring Yuko to Seiji in the Yapul dimension so they can fight Yapul. And the 2 times where the Ultra Brothers show up to work together, like in the Golgotha 2-parter, where they gave Ace the space cue and were all crucified, and when they all get turned into statues by Alien Hipporito. After Ace, Zoffy continued to make appearances pretty regularly throughout the rest of the Showa era. I think his most notable appearances outside of Ace is when he shows up to try to help Taro defeat Birdon, only for them to both die and have to be revived by Mother of Ultra. Then when he showed up alongside the other Ultra Brothers to have a reunion with Taro, and advocated to let Taro die so he learns not to be cocky. And then in Leo, when he really only shows up with Jack, Ace, and Ultraman to try and kill who they think is Astra. Now, unlike a good number of Ultras, Zoffy would also make appearances in the Heisei era outside of like Nevius and Ultra Galaxy stuff. He's the boss of Ultraman Neos in Ultra 721. He was intended to be Max's boss as well, but got replaced by Xenon. I think my favorite appearance of Zoffy, like just overall, is when he shows up in Mebius. He saves the captain from an alien attack in deep space. Then in the finale, he and the captain bond and become an Ultra and his host, and they basically show up in the final battle to aid Mebius and the Guy's crew in their fight against Emperor, while the other Ultra Brothers are out saving the sun. Now, recently in the New Generation era, Zoffy hasn't really shown up as much as the other Ultra Brothers, outside of maybe like Jack. He mostly shows up in the background when they need like a big group of Ultras, like in Jeed, but he does have some cool appearances in Ultra Galaxy Fight. In the first Ultra Galaxy Fight, he and Taro gather up the New Generation heroes so they can take out Ultra Dark Killer. In the Absolute Conspiracy, the original 6 Ultra Brothers have an awesome fight against the Gua Brothers, as well as Zoffy revealing that he's really good friends with Andromelos. In Ultra Galaxy Fight The Destined Crossroads, Zoffy and Taro are sent by the Land of Light to ask for King and the Leo Brothers' help. Then the Ultra Brothers, except for Adi and Hikari, show up for the final battle. Outside of Ultra Galaxy Fight, he shows up in Ultra Fight Orb alongside Jack and Seven to save Orb and Zero from getting killed by Birdon, Twin-Tailed Gudon, and King Joe. Then he and Jack try to hold off Rebatos' revived Tyrant. And that's kind of all they really do there. Now, Zoffy makes an appearance in Shin Ultraman as well, but this is a very different Zoffy. In Shin Ultraman, he's kind of the final antagonist. He deems humanity dangerous and sends Zeton to destroy Earth to prevent us from being able to spread through space. But after Ultraman's courageous battle to prevent the certain destruction of Earth, Zoffy realizes that perhaps humanity isn't all that bad. Zoffy is often characterized as this stoic, dependable, and really dedicated kind of character. He always shows up to help out his fellow Ultra Brothers, even in situations that lead to their defeat. But he can also be very stern. He's very dedicated to his work. He's shown to have good relations with the rest of the Ultra Brothers, but it seems that he's closest with Ace. And from the looks of it, maybe used to not be so fond of Taro, but it seems he may have warmed up to him nowadays. We know he's the boss of Neos in 721, and it seems the people he's closest with are Ken and Marie. Oh, and of course you can't forget that he's friends with Andromelos. Now, Shin Zoffy is very judgmental and only cares about his work to the point of not valuing life. At least not until Ultraman shows him the indomitable power of the human spirit. Now, I just kind of want to go over a bit of a theory, a bit of a headcanon I have. Now, remember, this is my headcanon. not actual canon. I'm not saying this is canon, or that I really even think what I say here is what the creators intended, or even should be real. This is all stuff that I made up, so do not quote me on any of this, okay? Okay, now why is Zoffy so close to Ace, Ken, and Marie? Well, I might have an answer that is, as far as I know, non-canon. Zoffy at some point may have been adopted by Ken and Marie. Zoffy was shown to be a young adult Ultra around the time of Belial's exile. Father of Ultra is currently around 160,000 years old, and Zoffy's around 25,000. So there's enough time for that to kind of work out. My idea here is that Ken was good friends with Zoffy's parents, and they died during the Ultimate War. This isn't as far-fetched of an idea at all, because we know that this happened to Ace's parents, and he was adopted by Father and Mother of Ultra. So who's to say the same couldn't have happened with Zoffy? And, I mean, at that point, Zoffy could have just been like a young teenager, maybe around an equivalent to like a 15, 16-year-old? I don't know. Now, we do see a young Zoffy standing with Ken when Taro is telling us of the past of the Ultra Planet in the 25th episode of Taro. It would explain why he's so close to Ken and Marie and Ace. He'd be close to Ken and Marie as they took him in after the loss of his parents, and he'd be so close with Ace because he and Ace were in the same situation. Both orphaned by the war, but taken in by the noble Ken and Marie. Zoffy's an underrated character, and people don't really realize quite how important he is in the Ultraman lore. Like, he's the whole reason that Ultraman's able to come back later on. If he left Ace to die, Yapple would have taken over Earth. Orban Zero probably could have died to that group of monsters? I don't know. One of the coolest Zoffy moments that I haven't really mentioned yet is his role in the Jackal stuff. I don't really know what it's called. I think it's like the Ultraman. It's the, I think, Uchiyama? I think his name is Uchiyama, the manga stuff. Now, I haven't read the manga, okay? I just haven't read it. But it did have a short animated film made of it, and it's really cool. Zoffy plays like a huge role in that. So, Zoffy becomes the leader of a resistance group on Earth after Jackal and his army end up killing off the Ultra Brothers. Jackal ends up hunting down Zoffy on Earth and is about to sniff out that resistance group before Melos appears. Melos and Zoffy lead an army of Ultras to take out Jackal and his army, only for Melos to fall to Jackal. But then, the Andro-Melos armor appears, and it's revealed that Zoffy donned the armor and revived the Ultra Brothers. Then they take out Jackal. And the best part of this is that this is probably canon. Melos has some siblings, and one of them appears in the Ultraman Taiga voice dramas, and Melos himself is mentioned in the Z and Zero voice dramas. So, I mean, yeah, I'd say this is pretty canon, and that's really cool. That's actually a really amazing character moment for Zoffy. All in all, Zoffy's an awesome character. He's dedicated and badass, if a little harsh. I really like Zoffy, and I hope this video makes you kind of see what I see in him.